What's up, Freeport? Councilman Moraida here, and we got looks like I don't know, probably fast. We're gonna go pretty quick through this agenda. So we got 2 public hearings on lots. Man. We're gonna approve a budget amendment. Man, that doesn't have that much details on the agenda.
She said she did.
Trying to approve a bid for a annual fuel contract with petroleum traders, and and then the last item is item 10 is awarding another bid for the lift stations 3, 4, and 14. So that's the bulk of it.
Certainly, sir. I've never been to the city manager.
Dan Wayne, don't you know? Very good.
About to start right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get started. If y'all could take a seat, please, if seats are available. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting agenda of the Freeport City Council this Monday, April 4th, 2022 at 6 p.m. I will declare that a quorum is present, that all the proper notices have been given, and therefore I will call this meeting to order and ask that Mr. Kelty at this time will all rise and if he'll provide the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day. We thank you for all the joys that you brought into our lives. We thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve the citizens of Freeport and work alongside each other. Lord, we ask that you bring peace to our community, that you bless this meeting and all of our thoughts and all of our words and all of our actions, that they may be in accordance with your will. Lord, we ask a special prayer for those families that are suffering in Eastern Europe. Please bring peace to that area. In all of this, we ask this in the name of your Son. Amen.
Amen. The pledge to the flag of the United States of America.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You may be seated. At this time, I would ask for the EDC meeting, or the EDC committee, to go ahead and call themselves into open session, please.
All right, it is 6:01 p.m. and I'm gonna go ahead and open up our meeting. In this portion, we have to do all the invocation pledge.
You're covered. All right, very good. And I'll remind you at this particular time, if y'all have any particular comments or so forth during the meeting, that you're going to have to speak up because we don't have a mic over there for the public or online. At this time in our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for citizen comments. We have a number of them. Mr. Roberson, how about you come up here first? Thank you, Dave.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I wanted to come today to talk about the March 25th article in the New York Times, the statement that was done by the city manager and you, Mr. Mayor, concerning the East End and the city's fighting for years, and what you guys gonna do, are you guys gonna keep fighting, or are you guys gonna stop and just give up? That was the New York Times article, and I'm kind of concerned about that because when we first talked about this a few years back, you stated that you were gonna fight for the East End. That was your words. And I held you at that. I believed you on that 100% until I see different. I'm still standing on that word. But I also read the New England Times article concerning the East End and how a black U.S. neighborhood is taken away by the port. And that's kind of concerning me. All these years, they had to get their own plumbing. All these years, they have endured no streets. All these years, they had to endure these things. And now they're gonna go through what they were promised to, get jumped off the land because the city failed to take care of them. The city failed to represent them, you know. Kind of concerned about that, sir. There's other things that I need to discuss, but being that there's so many different people in here at this moment, I will get my opportunity to discuss it because we gotta have change and we gotta have growth. Also, I wanna find out, did an open record request concerning that April rally that was here in Freeport. I also called the Coast Guard and Homeland Security, and I wanna know what their part in law enforcement was that. Because one person text that they just showed up in the river. That's impossible under September 11th. We're under a heightened alert. So the city gotta know something, somebody gotta know something. Because we live around 13 petrochemical plants. And if all them boats pull up in the river like that, somebody can do something nefarious. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Lucy and Aaron Ware.
Hello. I'm Lucy Ware. I reside at 344 Timber Creek Drive in Lake Jackson, and we're here today to figure out why y'all can't come to an agreement on a price for the property on 2 Front Street. So we'd like to just make an offer just for the levy until we can figure out Division Street, and I'd like to make you a fair offer of $5,000.
And that's a fair offer, because when we went to Tim's office, Tim showed us some comps. A few people did pay, one person only paid around $3,000 for riverfront. And at the same time, the person he had appraised it, they said it was worth $15,000. Less than a year ago, he told us it was worth 75% less than anybody else's levy. Same appraisal that you used for the $15,000, less than a year. So that's why we feel that's a fair price of $5,000 for that levy.
And also, I'd like to know what was said in the meeting that Mario rescinded his vote on selling it to us. So I know y'all can't say, but I'm not sure what kind of pressure y'all may have put on him to make him rescind his vote. Because he was the only person that actually was okay with selling it to us. And I don't know Mario personally. I'm not related to him, never met him before, and so I saw him in here. And also, as a citizen of Brazoria County, I tried to speak to him, and he seemed like he was a little nervous about talking to me, so I thought that's what city council was supposed to do. So I'm not sure what kind of pressure is going on between y'all, that he's scared to talk to citizens. So I just backed away and said, you know what, I won't even speak to you if you're that scared. You know, so that's just pretty sad, that you can't speak to someone and them not to be scared to speak to you.
Anything else?
That's all.
Thank you very much. Ms. Arena, Sam?
Thank you, Mayor. Council, good evening. My name is Sam Reyna, and I reside in 2002 North. Carrizales lives at 1936 North Avenue G. Lady code enforcement came to his house because he had a lot of trash in his front yard. She took photos and the address. I asked her if she was writing a violation citation, and she said no. But said American Waste was not picking up the debris, and I told her they would, but if it was over 5 cubic yards, they would charge extra. She later called Dino and told him a neighbor had called and filed a complaint. So he had to remove the debris, cost him almost $1,000. $200 for the rental of the trailer. $300 to take it to the landfill, dispose of it, and then he took half a day off. He's a superintendent. Pretty close to $1,000 what it cost him. And she said that a neighbor had called and complained. I've got all my neighbor phone numbers, except for a couple of them, and I went ahead and called them. Nobody called and complained. And the ones that I didn't have a phone number, some of them not being good. Nobody called and complained. She told him that somebody had called and complained and wanted it removed, so he went ahead and took up the work. That's over $1,000 that guy had to spend. Dennis, his address is 1925 North Avenue G. Lady code enforcer told him he had to remove the carpet off the front yard, which is the second page. You read it? It's not even 5 cubic feet, yards on it. At his expense, and told him he had to fix flat on his car, fix the flat on his car. It wasn't flat, it had a low air tire. He just bought it. Jaguar, 16-year-old Jaguar, mint condition. So she told him to fix the flat. I mean, come on. Bobby Walls, 1911 North Avenue G. Remodeled his house and had construction debris in his front yard. Mary Waste did not pick it up, nor his trash car. He called the Mary Waste and was told they do not pick up construction debris, so they can pick up a car also. He paid $300 to have it removed. The construction material trash was left there by Mr. Walsh, not a contractor. He done the work himself. It was his debris, but they will not pick it up. So he had to pay $300 to get it removed. Syntax Taqueria, 321 Gulf Boulevard. Was told she needed new grease trap, so she has one installed. Cost about $10,000.
What was the address?
Syntax Taqueria,
321.
North.
321 Gulf Boulevard. Carranco Walk, and the Gulf Boulevard, right in the corner, okay? So she had one installed, and then they told her to landscape around the grease trap. It was not worth on landscaping. Keith Valentin. He's the one that's been living in the garage for 7 months.
Sam, your time is up, 4 minutes to pass. Thank you, sir, for your comments.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. May we keep the pictures, please?
Oh, yeah, you can have.
Mr. Casal?
Good evening, everybody. Dr.
evening.
Sal from Bridge Harbor. Everyone I talked to says that gate needs to be replaced again for my safety. I spoke with several council, but it's not even a council issue. It's a city issue that was created 60 years ago. That property, the end of the property, had the gate stopped public prior to that, private after that. And I got that affirmed from the developers, and I got it from the second owners, the Peachies, because I represented them at Bridge Harbor. Anyway, tonight I want to be as nice as I can, but on Tarpon Lane, there's another city street that's been gated with a big heavy chain, and I mentioned that to Miss Roman a couple of months ago. I guess she never addressed it, but anyway, like someone said last week, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So as nice as I can ask you tonight, would you direct Mr. Kelty, who is the one who took the gate up, put the gate back for my safety and the safety of my family? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kenneth Hayes, excuse me.
Whichever one.
Kenneth Hayes, 414 Mystery Harbor. I just wanted to commend the city on the new trash people, because I drove around the city of Freeport, and it's a lot cleaner now than it was a month ago. And I'm real proud of all the stuff that went on about changing was a very positive move. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Matamore, it's my understanding you want to talk about consent agenda number 6?
That is correct.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, any other citizen comments? Very good, thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and start presentation announcements. EDC, we're going to do a little bit of city business first, then we're going to jump into the executive session since we have some presentations and announcements. Number 1, the presentation for the Texas Main Street program. Leanne?
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are happy that, to announce that we've got our Texas Historical Commission Main Street, resource team visit this week. Started today, we'll go through tomorrow and end on Wednesday morning. I've requested their presence here at City Council to address you and the public and to also share a short presentation. Moving forward, we'll start with, Texas Main Street State Coordinator Amy Hammonds.
Thank you.
Hammonds.
Good late afternoon, Ms. Hammond.
Good afternoon. I'm a shorty. Many thanks to Leanne for arranging this time with you. We're going to be brief. First of all, I am Amy Hammonds. I'm the state coordinator for the Texas Main Street program. We are part of the Texas Historical Commission, and we're here to present you with your Main Street signs and to put together some meetings with community stakeholders to talk about the importance of Main Street and what we hope to help you achieve in your community. Before I start, I wanted to introduce the team that I brought with me. We brought our entire team to Freeport. I'm joined by Kara Lorimore, our Assistant Director, Alan Cox, our Economic Development Specialist. We have our entire design team led by architect Jamie Crawley, with program design specialist Tara Bonds, Milena Maiz, and Bryce Hendrickson. And we started this afternoon, and all day tomorrow we'll be meeting with all sorts of contributors to downtown revitalization. We're very excited. And I want to say congratulations. You're one of 90 communities in Texas to take on this challenge, and we're so pleased that you've chosen to do this. You were in the program, you're back in the program now, and we hope that our meetings today will just be the start of a really constructive relationship. Texas Main Street is economic development through historic preservation, but it's really more than that. We do all sorts of things that contribute to community revitalization and tourism. We want to capitalize and leverage all sorts of wonderful opportunities for your community, and we're so excited to be part of the program. When we were talking with the city manager today, he made a comment. He said, your Main Street program is only as good as what you put into it. And that's so true. It is a group effort, and we can provide you with tools and with services, but at the end of the day, your support in the short and the long run is critical to the success of the program. And we appreciate you take that seriously, that you've hired Leanne, and that she has a really wonderful board to work with her. And we're excited to start this relationship again and to work with you in the years to come. What we're gonna do is, Kara Lorimore, our Assistant Director, is gonna give you a little presentation about the specifics of what can be implemented in Main Street communities to move you further down the road. So it's gonna give you something a little bit more specific to hang your hat on and look forward to. I do wanna say that we also brought Susan Rios, who's the EU Valley Main Street Manager. What we found is bringing another Main Street Manager to these resource teams provides a depth of specificity for the new Main Street Manager. It creates a network. She can also have a perspective of what might be some coming challenges, but also what might be some special strengths that your community has that you may not even realize. So that's what we're hoping to do in the next day or so. But Kara is going to tell you a little bit more about the program and how it works.
Good, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, somewhere I think there's a remote.
Somewhere there is a,
Remote? Thank you. Okay.
I need to get to another PowerPoint.
I'm assuming someone controls that, okay.
there we go.
Okay, so let's see.
Almost there.
How does this advance?
Well, I gotta hold on for just a second. Computer, turn it slow. I need to turn this light slow. You need to push it up this direction. I can advance it. Does that work?
Towards this computer.
Right here. Point it towards here. There you go.
Yes, okay. Does that work? Yes, okay. I apologize, everyone.
Thank you for having us again. Thank you, Amy, for leading us off. I wanted to just give y'all a glimpse into, for those of you who are not that familiar with Main Street, understand, a little more fully what that is and what that could look like for Freeport.
I'm sorry.
Okay, apologies again. So what is Main Street? Amy said it very eloquently and simply. Main Street is economic development in the context of historic preservation. We like to think of it also as a roadmap for locally driven prosperity. And we like to emphasize the locally driven because Main Street really just provides you a framework. And it's up to you all as city leaders and the local Main Street program to sort of fill that framework in with the projects and initiatives that make sense for Freeport and that build upon the strengths of Freeport and celebrate what is unique about Freeport. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that framework. Main Street is built on a comprehensive 4-point approach that you see here. These 4 points are design, organization, promotion, and economic development. As you engage in design initiatives, you'll be preserving your historic buildings, but also creating a more attractive pedestrian environment for both residents and visitors. Organization is things like getting volunteers and raising funds to carry out your goals, and definitely forging new partnerships with other civic organizations. Promotion means making your downtown the center of activity in your community. And economic vitality is what I call the real bullseye of the program, meaning that it's a vibrant downtown with thriving businesses that contribute to your city's overall economy. That's what we're all aiming for. So does that approach to revitalization work? Well, we can look at the many vibrant downtowns around the state that are Main Street communities and around the country. And we can also look at numbers. These are statewide numbers compiled just for 2021. So this is just Texas, just 2021, so we're coming out of the pandemic. And the numbers, I would say, look good. If you look at the private rehabilitations, the new construction, pretty impressive in this year coming out of COVID. And then let's look at how the Main Street actually works, just so everyone understands that. So Leanne will be your Main Street manager. She will work in harmony with the appointed Main Street board. And typically, a Main Street community will then have 4 committees under the board to match each of those points of Main Street. So design, organization, promotion, and economic vitality. And then you'll see us kind of off to the left as your support system. We're there to give give technical assistance in all of those areas, and support and resources, and help your community learn about Main Street and downtown revitalization. But again, it's really yours to sort of fill in the pieces and create your program. We do require a few things, and this is the list that we do require. One of those is to keep a full-time staff person and keep that person trained. We ask that you submit quarterly and annual reports to us. That will be something that Leanne does, and I won't read the whole list, but there are those few requirements that we have. I thought it might be helpful for y'all to see, I know you can't see all these city names, but wherever you see a little black dot, that is a Main Street community. We have 90 communities around the state. So lots of support for your program. People all over the state creating, vital, attractive, successful downtowns, wanting the same things that you want for Freeport. And I thought it might be helpful for you to see the communities close by, and I encourage you to visit any of those that are nearby. I circled those that look the closest and all have strong programs that I think you would enjoy learning more about. I want to sort of conclude this presentation by providing you kind of an insider's look into one existing Main Street town. And that town is Elgin, Texas. It's 20 to 30 miles outside of Austin. It's been a program since 1990, so long history in the program. And I found this timeline that they had posted to the website, but the real reason I chose Elgin is they have a long history of working very methodically and strategically, year after year, piece after piece on Main Street. They also have a long history of using partnerships with other organizations and really capitalizing on their history and their assets in a way that I can see Freeport doing down the line. So I just thought I'd give you sort of a picture in a few slides of what they've done through the years. Okay, this is 1998 when a group of volunteers put together the first Main Street Days Festival. This became a very successful Hog Eye Festival, also known as the Best Little Pig Gig in Texas. They have quite a history of producing sausage in Elgin, so the pig, the hog, is very important to them. So much so that the Hog Eye Festival mascot is Priscilla the pig. She figures very prominently in many of the city's activities. In 1991, city leaders recognized that they had a tremendous asset in their historic architecture, and so they worked to establish a historic district. In 1996, the city of Elgin received a grant from the Department of Ag to repair their sidewalks, thus setting the stage for a more pedestrian-friendly streetscape. And a few years later, much like your museum association, the local historical association completed the renovation of their historic train depot and opened a museum there, which attracted more visitors to downtown. Elgin sits at the crossroad of two railroad lines. So you'll notice that their current Main Street logo really taps into that railroad heritage. I don't know if you can see the lights that line the buildings in this slide, but a few years later, Main Street Elgin spent time installing planters, installing wayfinding signage, outlining the tops of their buildings with lights, all ways to enhance the pedestrian experience. A few years later, they moved an existing farmer's market to downtown, which meant even more foot traffic, at least on the weekend. And in 2014, City Council approved a zoning overlay to allow mixed use downtown. And this is interesting, I think. Included in that was allowing housing on the first floor of commercial buildings, not in the front, because you want, commercial activity in the front to keep that street lively, but in the back, they allow housing. Also, around that same time, the Economic Development Commission offered grants of $25,000 to each property owner who was investing at least $100,000 in their property. And finally, one more example. but also to bring diverse populations in their community together. So here is Elgin in 2022. Gosh, I'm gonna have trouble reading that, but I believe in the last 6 or 7 years, they've had, I think, 14 renovations downtown. They're at 90% occupancy, which I think everyone would love. The numbers speak for themselves. Their Hawkeye Festival continues to function and fund a lot of their programming, so they've been highly successful. And with that, I thank you very, very much for listening to that, and I'm going to turn it over for several minutes to Susan Rios from Volunteer.
One quick question, please. Do you know the average numbers on a typical advisory board? And 190-member groups?
That is a great question. Just how many are on the advisory board?
Yes, ma'am.
It varies from usually 7 or 9, sometimes 11. Some of our larger communities have even larger boards, but usually there's 7, 9, 11.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us.
Good evening.
I will be brief. I know y'all have a full agenda. I want to say thank you for signing up again to be a Main Street community. As a Main Street manager, I can attest to the work Leanne's about to jump headlong into, but all the success and prosperity she's going to be bringing to your community. Once you revitalize your downtown, it's amazing that your locals start to embrace their community again, and then that leads to tourism dollars. And I know that that's probably a big interest for this community, is how do you've got your industrial piece in play, but how do you get your locals in love with town again, where they're spending their dollars here instead of taking it to Houston, but bringing in your tourists. So looking at your downtown, it's beautiful. You have this blank slate that's just ready to prosper. And Uvalde, if you don't know where Uvalde is, it's 9 miles west of San Antonio. 6 years ago, when I became the Main Street manager there, we were sitting at about 50 to 60% vacancy. We're at 95% occupancy now, all because we have Main Street. People are coming there. TV shows are coming to film. It's such a tourist draw. It wasn't not just for hunting and tubing the Frio River anymore. People are coming to see art, shops, stores. And we're seeing people who grew up there are now moving back because they want to raise their families there. They want to have their businesses downtown. And that's going to happen for you. So I just hope that no matter what naysayer comes before you, that you stop and really assess what a true value and gem the Main Street program is, and just how much equity it's going to bring you. Your infrastructure is in place, so it's just going to be money in your pocket for property tax values. So I just encourage you to please embrace the program, utilize all its assets, and just enjoy the benefits your city is about to have. But if y'all have specific questions about how Uvalde has benefited, I'd be glad to answer anything. We have a board of 9, by the way. Did that.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Make sure you go downtown regularly. I can't stress that enough. I get on my council for not coming to events. Hopefully Leanne photographs you, make sure she puts on social media when you're there.
Social media is the devil.
We also came bearing gifts. These are highway signs.
Nice.
Can be installed anywhere you see fit. So congratulations. We will leave these with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We hope that you eat a lot of meals in Freeport and fill up your cars numerous times. We love sales tax. Thank you very much, Leanne. Anything else that we have in regard to this? All right, well, we appreciate your leadership on this, and we're looking forward to seeing great things, and please keep us apprised as to how we can help you other than going downtown frequently with our pictures community.
I'm gonna take them to dinner in Freeport right now.
There you go. Item number 2 is a presentation of Chief Garrett in recognition of his receiving the Blues Magazine's Lifetime Achievement Award. Is there somebody here from the area? Is there coming up? Thank you, Chief. I guess we're going to need you up here as well. Y'all be safe, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Well, he's coming up on us. Thank you for letting me make this presentation tonight.
Sir.
My name is Michael Bear, and I'm a retired sergeant from the Galveston County Sheriff's Department. I'm also the founder and the publisher of the Blues magazine. We've been in business for 38 years, and in that time, we've only presented this award to 2 other individuals. So it's a rather special award, and Chief Garibay, Chief Garibay, your story is an inspiration to all law enforcement officers in the state of Texas. All of us are better off because of your mission to serve your fellow man and your fellow officers. For 10 years, you've served the citizens of Freeport with pride and dignity. You've shown us a true definition of a leader, and Freeport is certainly blessed to have you as our police chief. But it's your ongoing work in the community and your devotion to doing God's work with all the young cancer patients you interact with that makes you truly worthy of this award. You've devoted your life to serving others, even when that means saying goodbye to those closest to you. Raymond Garibay, we are blessed to have you as one of our peacemakers, and for you surely are truly one of God's children. It's a distinct honor and privilege to present you with this Lifetime Achievement Award, and may God bless you and your family.
As you know, it takes a whole team to make it happen, and I'm proud of the entire team. So like I said, this will be happening. Again, God bless y'all. Thank y'all for the support. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate everything that you and your folks do.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir, for coming and making the presentation.
Thank you.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed much further, I'd ask that the members in the audience follow the police department out, some of the city's finest, because we're now going to, at 6:36, go into executive session in regards to the joint issue that we have with the EDC. With that, ladies and gentlemen, y'all step up. Mr. Delfino, if you come back and remove your microphone here, please, sir, or microphones from the council chambers.
This is in regard to project 22.
We'll be right back. We're going on executive session.
551, section 551 of the 21 establishment.